Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. Today we are back on the first updates 1.93 dev server, and it's time to have a look at a new rank 6 vehicle that is coming to the French tech tree. This is the AMX30 ACRA or ACRA, and it's coming in at 8.3, so the same BR as the AMX30 B2 right here. So at least it's going to form a decent lineup between the two vehicles. It comes after the AMX10RC, which is an interesting choice for this, but then again we go from the FOSS to the AMX10RC, so you know it's a little bit of a higgledy-piggledy when it comes to that part of the tree. The AMX30 ACRA puts it at odds with its other brothers in the tree, basically by having a different turret, which you can see is much more lengthened at the back, you know, with this nice little overhang, and also the 142mm that you see out of the front of it. This is known as the ACRA gun launcher, and the reason for that is because it's designed to fire ATGMs. The ATGMs that it fires are the MP ACRA. This is an ATGM that goes at 500 meters per second. It is mouse guided and goes at 800, 693, and 400 millimeters of penetration respectively. It also has this MUC HE shell, and we'll get into it because it's an odd one. It's as if it's like a rocket-propelled shell. At least that's how it acts in the game right now. 550 meters per second, a decent explosive mass at 2.8, and has 38 millimeters of penetration across the board. Also has access to a rangefinder, but everything else is pretty much standard on the machine. No stabilizer, of course, on this gun. This is definitely quite a girthy gun, so putting a stabilizer on it would be kind of interesting. The other thing as well is the optics is amazingly modeled in this gun. So you have the optics here, 6.8 times to 8 times, and then you've got the optics, which is basically the rangefinder. So there is this part of the X-ray just looks like it's been amazingly modeled, and I'm just really loving, you know, how that's brought in. It definitely brings a uniqueness to the vehicle at hand. Looking at the basic armor of the machine, it's built on the AMX30 B2 chassis, so you should know, you know, the same armor thickness is there, 79 millimeters, 50, and then 79 at the bottom. Then the turret itself, which is completely new, you have 79 millimeters and 57 on these two areas of the breech area, or the mantlet, and then you have 60 sat at the back, 40 on the sides, which stays 40 all the way, and then on the back you've got 30 and 30 on the boot. Then on the sides you've got 30 for the chassis once again. So it's definitely a mix of tons of random, you know, amounts of armor all over the place. Like 60 millimeters for the cupola is kind of surprising, but that actually might catch a lot of people out who try and donk this thing from the top. It just looks like a weird turret, doesn't it? And also because it's so big, I'm wondering whether, because at 8.3, right, so what's this going to face, which is fair enough. Okay, the M60 AOS, you know, that's a pretty good, you know, vehicle that it might face. It's going to go through, right? Like, it's going to go through the breach, but is it going to get stuck on this massive breach a lot of the time? Or is it just going to go straight through and batter everything? Only time will tell, but the fact that this breach is pretty much made up of the whole of the turret, I'm kind of worried about the fact that, you know, something's going to happen which is weird to it. You can also go through this bit, which can kill, of course, the gunner and the commander. The other thing as well is because it's an AMX30, all of the ammo is stored at the back of the turret, and since it's a 142mm, there's a decent amount of it back there. You also have a fuel tank in the front, which protects the rest of the ammo, but I've got a feeling you won't be taking more than what's in this turret here. 36 rounds overall, with a reload rate of 14.3. I believe it is manually loaded. Yes, it is. So you can actually top it out at 12 seconds with an ace crew and 15.6 seconds as a basis. The other thing as well is the turret traverse being at 25.2 degrees per second is really nice for the size of this turret. The other thing though that is a problem is the fact that the nice thing, at least for me, when I look at the AMX 30s all the way up to the Brennus and even the AMX 40, is they have this coaxial 20mm. The coaxial 20mm deals with a lot of targets which you normally wouldn't think it deals with, like helicopters, orbals, anything that's light which is running around. Now in this one, the ACRA or the ACRA, it is being replaced with a 12.7mm machine gun. So you get a lot less pen, you get a lot less oomph, and to be honest, I'm kind of sad to see that we don't have a 20 on this thing. Then you have, of course, the 7.62 at the top here. And in the back, this thing is powered by a 700 horsepower engine, which is connected to the transmission, giving it 65 kilometers an hour forward and 23.2 backwards. So pretty good. It's also got good acceleration going forward, and the reverse is definitely good enough to be competitive. The other thing is, of course, the camouflages on this. For me, my personal favorite is the bicolor desert, this one that you see right here. Then, of course, you have the bicolor camouflage and the rest, which are standard for all of these French vehicles. Nothing out of the wind here, but for me, it's always got to be this bicolor desert. I think it just looks the best on them. So let's go through the ammunition options, and I'll show you, what I mean, where I'm kind of confused by at least the HE one. The first thing is there's no night vision on this, there's no thermals, so you're stuck with what you've got, which is what you can see in front of you. You obviously have the two secondaries right there. And okay, so let's fire the ATGM. Let's go at this target over here. You can see that it's mouse guided, so we can wibble it about and hit targets. Okay, simple as that. It's a simple ATGM, and also this is another machine just like the BMP, where you can fire the ATGMs on the move. So you can fire it over. Oops. You can fire it wherever you want, and it's going to very stably move in with your with your aimer as you go around. So let's shoot it at the T10 over there. We'll just fire it in, and then we'll just keep the mouse on. So you can shoot on the move with the ATGM, and it'll get to your target pretty quickly. Now, this is where the weirdness starts. So this HEs are normally very potato in this game, meaning that they have less muzzle velocity than you'll be used to. They also normally have a scenario where you are able to, shoot them out and maybe donk on a fool if you're very lucky, or just get very unlucky and kind of get screwed up. Look at this HE. So, according to that target over there, he's about 700 meters away, right? So let's aim for, let's say 700. See, that's gone miles over, and this is where it gets interesting. It's as if this HE is rocket propelled. It's as if, let's do it again, right? So here's a target. We're using the rangefinder modification to work out how far he is. 300, okay, so that's 300 according to the rangefinder. And it's gone way over him, and it's making this weird and interesting noise as if it's being propelled by some form of propulsion. So, is this just a rocket-powered HE at the end? Because, as you can see, I'm not controlling it. I'm not mouse guiding it. It's not controlled by my controls. I'll show you, because once I fire it, I shouldn't be able to move my vehicle because I should be controlling it, in my vehicle. That's basically how ATGMs work. So look, I can still move, and the ATGM is still moving. So I'm not controlling it after I fire it. That's not what's going on. So what the hell is this thing? What the hell is this round? And even though it's completely useless, at least from first glance, because it doesn't have enough penetration, and yes, you can obviously get lucky and shoot it at a vehicle and get some weird ricochets, but the fact that it's kind of at least hard to aim from my point of view, maybe you'll get used to it over time, and also because of the fact that why not just use the ATGM? I'm kind of perplexed by what this HE is. I think it's really interesting, though, that we have something like that in the game. Just because it's weird and wonderful. And as long as you have another option, I don't think it's too much of a big deal. This machine has 4 smokes. You can see them on the back of the elongated turret. It fires them, but they explode straight away, and the problem with this is a problem that the AMX-30 has as well. When you throw them up, it actually kind of throws them up behind you, so you have to move back in order to get through them. So just take that into account if you are flying about with this thing. And the other thing also is, I'm wondering if this like rocket propelled thing will eventually become like a proximity idea. Otherwise I have no idea how it's going to work. Look at that. I mean that would happen with any HE shell because it bounced upwards, but this this rocket propelled idea is just, it's weird and wonderful. And that's what I like about it. And luckily you do have, you know, another option. You do have the ATGM option if you want to take it. You also, if you don't want to deal with any of this tomfoolery, of course, you can just take out the normal AMX-30B too. I'm just happy that we have another vehicle, just like the Type 75 in a way, which has this weird and wonderful, interesting mechanic, or this new idea that's being brought to the game, and, you know, we're able to experience it in the form of what is normally seen as just a really wonky vehicle, which this definitely is. Will this be meta? No. It doesn't have stabilizers. It has good speed behind it though, which is great for it, and it can fire on the move, but stabilizers with APF SDS around this BR are just incredibly strong, and normally, at least in my travels, whenever I see an ATGM fired, I can normally ping towards it and then just shoot, hit with my APF SDS or my APDS, and hit it before the ATGM reaches me nowadays, you know, because of the new sound effects and everything like that. So I don't think it'll be meta, but I am incredibly happy to see it in the game, just because of its interesting, I'm sure it has a very interesting history, and I'm sure when it comes to the game, people are going to do some wonderful things with it. Not everything has to be meta to be fun, and I think this, to me, is one of those vehicles that doesn't have to be meta, and it'll be very, very awesome. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. I'd just like to thank Ambrosius McClellan, B. Young, Blackie, Daniel Stanton, Jay Wilt, John Ryman, Joseph Anders, Martinez, Moxie, Super Cacti, Uyins Terry, Elove Goat, and Seductive Trashcan for supporting the channel.